Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are joining us from. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today on LinkedIn and on YouTube as well. Today, we are going to discuss a very important topic titled How to Stand Out on Paper and in Person CV Tips and Interview Preparation. We are excited to have you join us for what promises to be insightful and practical session today. My name is Infakagwa, and I'll be your host for today's session. I am joined by my brother.
I am Isaac Mason, and I'll be helping Jennifer throughout today's topic. Yeah. So today's session is about how we can present ourselves to be competitive, move on our CV, and also during the interview process. So if you are a student, a recent graduate, a job seeker, or even a professional who want to change roles, this program is designed for you to gain practical strategies that you can adapt in your process.
Yes. Before we introduce our speakers, I want to talk about the initiative behind this project or today's program. That's the WeRise initiative. WeRise initiative is a youth empowerment initiative designed to equip young people with the practical skills, the knowledge, and the opportunities needed to support their personal and their professional development.
Yes, so through the WeRise project, young
Yes.
people get a chance to learn from experienced professionals, ask questions, and also build their confidence, which can help them to be competitive in today's world of work. Yes, so today we are very fortunate to have two experienced professionals who have done a lot when it comes to human resource and professional career development.
Yes. I want to use this opportunity to introduce our first speaker so that we can start without wasting much time. She is the person of Miss Ifwan Ponsa, a human resource professional with over a decade of experience in HR, personnel management.
Please don't give me long introduction. I'm just a phone voice. I beg.
You deserve it. So
And organizational development. That's our boss. She currently
yeah,
works with the UK Ministry of Defense, where she has held various HR and professional management positions and is involved in recruitment outreach, monitoring, career development, and diversity and inclusion. Beyond her career, Ms. Ifwa is the founder of TripleAFoundation Group and the brain behind the WeRise project. She is passionate about youth empowerment, humanitarian causes, and sustainable development. Ms. Ifwa, we are delighted to have you with us. You are warmly welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, and thanks for the invite. I'm happy to be here.
right. So our second speaker is Madam Mary Ikuya Ahimadazi, who is an accomplished HR professional, career coach, and a strategist. She is currently the head of the HR unit at the Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority and the founder of Elite Career Initiatives. Madam Mary specializes in CV and resume development, interview coaching, career guidance, and professional branding. She is also a sought after speaker who is passionate about helping individuals, like our audience right now, to become more visible, confident, and competitive in today's workplace. She holds a Master of Public Administration from JIMPA and a Bachelor of Business Administration from UPAC. Madam Mary, please thank you for joining us and you are warmly welcome.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Isaac. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Yes, to our speakers, thank you once again for accepting our invitations. And to everyone joining us today, we encourage you to take notes. And also, you can use this opportunity to introduce yourself as well in the chat box. Tell us your name, your expectations, and the country you are joining us from. We would like to give you a shout out as well. So let's begin. Today's session is in two parts. We have the part one, stand out on paper, that's the CV tips, and the part two, the interview preparation, how to stand out in person. So we are going to start with the part one, how to stand out on paper, the CV tips, because the CV is the first initiative or the first step in any job application. So I would like to begin with our first speaker, Madam Mary. Hello, Madam Mary.
Hello, Jennifer.
Yes, thank you very much. So please, I would like to start with you. Our first question. Yes. So please, in the recruitment process, what are the most important things that recruiters look out for when reviewing a CV?
All right, thank you so much, Jennifer. Before I go ahead to answer your question, let me use this opportunity to thank the brains and the leaders of A Foundation. I mean, it's really a pleasure to be here. I kid you not. I'm so happy to be here. So, thank you so much to the organizers, to the leadership of A. I'm so grateful. And let me also, use this opportunity to thank each and everyone for joining us today, for us to learn together and share ideas. So, with your question, personally, as an HR, when we are reviewing CVs, what we look
Yes.
out for is relevance. Okay, in terms of we trying to get a talent to occupy a specific role, we need to make sure that the candidate we are looking for is what we are seeing, right? Because we should get a number of applicants. Of course, that is what we.
Mm. Hello. I think we have lost her. Hello, Madam Mary.
I think we have lost Madam Mary.
Yes.
Okay, so whilst we are waiting for Madam Mary to continue her submission, let's move to the second speaker. Yeah, so Miss Ifwa, please, can you hear us?
Yes.
Right. So CV preparation is something that I myself is very passionate about it. So from your experience as an HR professional, what do you see to be some of the common mistakes that applicants make that let their CV get rejected?
Okay. Thanks, Isaac and Jennifer, for once again for the invitation. When I got it, I was like, you could have found somebody else, but I'm happy to be here again. You guys know I'm always happy to actually learn more than be at the forefront. But this topic is actually quite dear to my heart as well. Learning from my mistakes, from when I finished uni, I would say. The importance of CVs. I used to depend on my brother quite a lot to have a look at my CV before I submitted an application. Or so I've thought back whilst I was trying to jot down some sort of answers or what I'm going to talk about. I had to replay certain scenarios in my head what I did wrong, what I still do wrong, because you can't, there's nothing like a perfect CV, but there is the right CV, let me put it that way, for the right job. So one of the common mistakes I would say is typo and grammatical errors, right? So sometimes when you're in a rush, even if it's not a CV, you can type stuff in your head because it's in your head. You think you've typed it, but you've
Yeah.
mistyped. You could have mistyped a lot of things. So
Yeah.
one of the common mistakes would be typos and grammatical errors. And if it's one or two mistakes, um maybe you could be let off, but if it is continuous on every single paragraph or sentence, then you could be seen as not paying attention to details, and depending on the job role that you're going for, it could go against you. That means you're not paying attention to details. So one of it is errors, grammatical errors and spelling mistakes. Sending the same CV for every job. If you're going for example, a social media manager job, don't use that same CV to apply for say a shop assistant. Does that make sense? Those are two different roles. It you need to have two different CVs for these roles, and so on and so forth. So I've seen people sending the same, and I used to do it as well. It got to a point, especially when I was frustrated in getting a job. It got to a point I see the job and then I'm just sending a new CV because I was tired of amending the CV continuously. But what you can do is, if it is 3 or 4 jobs that you're looking, or roles that you're looking for, right? Find those, have 4 different CVs for these roles, and then you read the requirement, then you just change it. It saves you time from always having to start a new CV. So yeah, send in the same CV. I have a lot, but I'll just pick these ones because these are, again, mistakes that I made. I know people still make it. Um, we're not talking about scholarships, but I know people send the same CV for a lot of different scholarships or programs. Again, I'm not gonna deviate, but it ties into it. Um, when you list your duties instead of achievements, right? They don't care about your role, that the role that you've played, because everybody can play those roles. They're looking for achievement. What did you do with that role? What did you do in that role? Or what did you achieve with your time in that role? So if you say something like, for example, responsible for social media, good for you. That's the role. That's your duty. We know you have to do that. But if you write something like, I manage social media content that increased engagement by 30%. You see how that those two sentences sound?
Yeah.
One is just saying this is what I did, but one is saying this is what I achieved in that role. And that's what you should be writing, not your roles. So another one is unprofessional email address. I saw something quite funny on one of the CVs, like sexy 920 at. I'm like, what is this? Just have an email. So just have a professional email with your name, even if it's just your first your first name dot your surname, or your initial and then your surname at Gmail or Yahoo or whatever that is out there.com. Don't be going to use sexy eyes, creepy eyes, all these extra stuff. I don't know, Gen Z dot, I don't know, whatever. I'm making this stuff up, but nothing like that. Just make it professional. So I've seen
Yeah.
some over the years. I've seen some really funky email addresses. So email addresses is one of that. And when you falsify your content, or you exaggerate your achievement, or what your CV is, like a 16-year-old, and you've got 2-3 pages of, I'm not saying it can't be, but just be realistic on what it is that you're listing. So in summary, if you give your CV to somebody that doesn't know you, and then you give them about, say, let's say a minute, and then you ask them, what is my CV communicating, or what role do you think I am well suited with this CV? If they're not able to give you an answer in 30 seconds, chances are your CV is not great. It's like that. Like, you know, because you've given them a minute. As soon as I read your first, say, two past experiences, I should be able to tell you what sort of role you're suited for. If I'm not able to do it, or if they're not able to do it, whether they're HR professionals or not, chances are your CV is not great, and then you'd have to sit down and rethink your CV. And yeah, so in short, typos, sending the same CV for every job, listing duties instead of achievements, um, too much information or unprofessional emails, and then poor formatting as well. If you use Arial at the top and then you're using Times New Romans, and then now we are on, I don't know, uppers and aptos and all these other calibra, if it is all over the place, that one also can, be a bit. So in summary, those are my top common tips, common errors or mistakes that I see on CVs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ifwam Ponsa. These are common errors that we normally ignore because we don't pay attention to them. And I think in CV, it has to be a course that has to be taught at the higher institution because somebody has graduated a tertiary. The person can't even draft a simple CV to defend him or herself. So I think it's something that we have to pay attention to that. Thank you very much. Madam Mary, please, you're welcome.
Thank you once again, Jennifer. Technology,
Yes,
it took me out.
no problem. We understand you very well. Yes. So please, my question was, in the recruitment process,
Mhm.
what are the things that recruiters normally look out for when reviewing a CV?
Okay, thank you very much, Jennifer, once again for the question. So I started by saying that before we will put out a role out there, a job description out there, we already have in mind the candidate or the talent that we want. So when we are reviewing CVs to help us get the right person for the role, what we
Yeah,
look out for, or the question we ask is that, is this person, does he or she match the job that we are, the role that we are trying to, you know, get a talent for? So do you match the role, or are you fit for that particular role? And in order for us to know if you are fit for that role, there are two things we look out for: your skills, and then your achievement, your experience. These are the things that we look out for. And these things are stated in the job description. Okay, so if we are reviewing the CVs, we are looking at, okay, so for this particular role, we said we want somebody that has 5 years experience. So with the 5 years, let's say 5 years, minimum of 5 years. So we are looking at people who have 5 years and above. So the first thing we will look out for is, do you have that minimum 5 years requirement we are looking out for? If you have that, we tick. Then we'll come to the skills. In the job description, we stated, let's say, five or two or three or 7 skills. These skills that we stated on the job description, can we also see that in your CV? So all these things is we reviewing the CV. So as an HR person, your skills, your achievement, your experiences. These are the major things we look out for when we are reviewing the CV before we would even come to the other part where we would even call you for an interview, right? So if it has to do with you positioning your CV to get that role, then you need to make sure your skills match the role, your experience match the role, and also your some of the achievement that we have. Well, that even the achievement, it even gives you an upper hand over the others. So the main thing is your skills, your experience. And like I said, the skills are different. We have transferable skills, we have interpersonal skills, soft, hard skills, all those things. Once it's stated in there, that is what we are looking out for. All right. So these are the things that we look out for when we are reviewing the CV.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Mary. But please, with the experience that you are talking about, how can someone with little or no working experience create a strong CV? Because normally in the
Okay.
job description, they will say that they need somebody with at least 5 years working experience, 15, sometimes even 35.
Mhm.
How can someone
Wow.
with no, yes, yeah, sometimes headmaster or headmistress, they will state on it at least 35 years working experience, 25. Yes, so how can someone with no working experience or little create a strong CV?
Okay, so if you have no work experience, for example,
Mm,
somebody coming out of school fresh,
yeah,
you've not even had the opportunity to experience what it is like to be on the job. I mean, in the corporate world or in the world of work, to have some experience to attach. But what I always tell people is that you do not have to finish school before you can
okay,
get an experience. So, what I always advise people to do is to take your personal, I mean, developing yourself, it has to be a personal decision. You need to decide to develop yourself. And in developing your skills, you need to learn the relevant skills that you need. For an HR, I know, right, when it comes to the world of work, it is the law for the employer to develop, to train the human resource, which is the people factor of the organization. But as long as you are not in the organization, or now, like we are saying, you have no experience, work experience. And so I want to, I mean, I do not want to assume that you would wait for a company to take a chance on you before you develop yourself. No, how will even the company take a chance on you to even say that, okay, I think Mary is good, let's hire her? Before they will say that, then they have seen something in you. So if you have no work experience, what you need the recruiter to see in you is that you possess some skills that you learned on your own. And I mean, I always say that these days there are a lot of places or ways in which you can learn, right? YouTube is there, Coursera is there. There are so many places that you can learn. Okay, so you need to learn skills. The skills is what will position you, because in the first place, you don't have the experience. So if you don't have the experience, what is the other way that can give you an upper hand? And the other way we are talking about here, or we are discussing here, is your skills. So if you are in school and you are not able, or let's say you are still job searching, right? You are not in school, you're out of school, but you are still job searching. What you need to do is to learn on your own. Do not wait for anybody. I always say this personally. I mean, when I see a particular course that I want to do, I don't even talk to my employer, because I know it is his duty or her duty, the employer's duty to develop me. No, I use my own money to develop myself, because I know that today, if I get an opportunity, what I have learned, or the skills or the knowledge that I have gained, it is with me forever. It is not something that I'll leave at my previous, workplace. No, it is with me. It is inside of me. So I am taking it away. I'm taking it, to wherever I want to be. So for learning, it is something that you need to make like decide, take a personal decision to develop your skills. So learn a skill. If you don't have any work experience, if you don't possess any if you've not had the opportunity to be in a work in a the world of work, to have some sort of experience, the easiest way in which you can position yourself is through your skills, right? So your CV will be skills based. You've been able to learn communication. And of course there will be evidences to attach to that. I mean, so in terms of communication, you are there. In terms of problem solving, you are there. In terms of adaptability, you are there. These things will make you culture fit, right? So if you don't have any work experience, one advice I'll give you is that there is an opportunity for you to position yourself, and that opportunity is through skills. So learn that skills. That is what will help you to position yourself without an experience. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you very much, Madam Mary. Thank you. So we have to use this opportunity to learn. Learning doesn't end, it doesn't cease. You don't have to wait before getting the experience before you can get the opportunity. Learn day in and day out as you grow. I want to use this opportunity to read some messages from our audience. So from Cynthia, she's saying happy social Saturday family. Thank you. Mr. York. Everyone looks like a drone pilot. Okay, thank you so much, sir, for joining us tonight. From Mr. York again, Mary, I admire your presentation. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Mr. Robert, thank you for joining us. Oh, nice one. My first time here, but I am learning a lot. Thank you so much. Yes, there is a question here from Robert. He's asking, what should I do as a first-time job applicant? I think, okay, we will answer that question as we move on. Yes. So, Isaac?
Right. Yeah, thank you very much, Jennifer. I'm also learning. If I show you the notes, you see some of the salient point that
Yes.
I have written down, and I hope to apply. Yeah, so apply them going forward. It's very tricky, and I'm sure we are going to cause a little chaos here. And I don't know how Miss Ifwa would answer this question. So some of our viewers are students, some to are professionals, some to just completed university
Yeah.
and they don't have enough work experience. So the question is, how long should a CV be, and does the length of a CV really matters?
Um, hmm. Yes, it is a tricky one. To be honest, I've had this debate before, um, and it varies. It varies, right? If you are a student, if you're still a student, for example, and you've always been in school, so let's say from when can you even start working? Senior high school, I would say, even if it's volunteering work or you've held positions while you were in school, you're now in level 400, give or take, because that's when you want to look for jobs, or unless maybe while you're in school, you're looking for a job. Unless you started working when you were 15, 14, if you send me a 2 page or anything more than a 2 page, I will say you are lying. Or
Wow.
you've put too much information that are unnecessary to the job that you're applying to. In fact, it shouldn't be more than a page at that stage. Bear with me. Like I said, it's the age, or again, unless you started working when you were 15. But even that, what has that experience got to do with the current role? Is it adding any value to the current role that you're applying for? So this is where the length comes in, and it goes into a long debate that right now most of the time I take myself out because everybody has got a different view. Now, one page is not the quantity, is the quality, right? If the one page is full of your date of birth, your marital status, the primary school you went to, your favorite food, your mother's maiden name, and all of these things, that is adding to the pages. It's what is any recruiter going to do with those information? You understand? So if you give me
Yeah.
the school, the secondary school you went to, your current school that you're in, the relevant courses that you've taken, certifications that you have, and two solid work experiences that relates to the role that you're currently applying to, one or two pages should be fine. And this is if you're, and it also depends on the font size that you use as well. Some font size makes your CV longer than it should be. I don't want to go into the font sizes because again, some recruiters will tell you use Times New Roman at font size 12 and so on and so forth. And I use this because it's the common one, especially in the UK. And actually, it looks good. It looks professional. Times New Roman, you can't go wrong with font size 12. You can't go wrong with that. So yeah, so at this stage is one or two pages with is the relevance that matters, right? Let's say you're applying for. Let me give example so that it can add value to whatever it is that I'm saying. Let's say you're applying for a shop assistant job, or you're applying for, say, as compared to applying for a managerial position. Now, you did a voluntary work. Maybe you haven't got the customer assistance job role before, but now you're looking to get into it. Look within yourself and what sort of customer related things have you done. Just put those on there. One or two solid ones should be okay. But now you've done, maybe you're now in a mid professional sort of stage, and you've held different sort of roles, right? Now you're applying to, say, MTN, for example. Those roles, those managerial roles that you had previously, let's say you had five, but those five, they all don't relate to this new managerial position that you're applying for. So take your best two or three. You don't need to list all the managerial roles that you've had. You see, this is where the length keeps becoming a thing. Because if you're just listing
Yeah.
all of them, but there's no relevance to the current role, it is long for no reason. It is just, yeah, it's just a waste of the recruiter's time, whoever that is reading it, and having to now pick out the relevance. Again, I'm sure Mary would back me up. If not, maybe it's just me. But we're looking for relevance. Any recruiter will look for relevance, right? You've got 10 pages but no relevance. Somebody has got 2 pages but with relevance. So what has your 10 pages or your 8 extra pages got on? You understand? So I'll
Yeah.
stick with that and say it's all to do with relevance. And one, what is the job the essentials and desirables that they are looking for? Essential means you have to have it. Desirable means if you have it, fine. It puts you on a higher pedestal. But if you don't have it too, it's just a desirable stuff that they're looking for. So if you match all the essentials, then yeah, by all means put it there. And that is where maybe you will add an extra page to it. If it is just desirables that you have or you meet it, again, this is where it will add the extras to it. But read the job advertisement. What are they looking for as an essential? Like this is what we're looking for, and put that in there. If you are an early stage career, one or two pages with relevance should be okay. Now you're applying for a PhD, you're applying for a senior role. Even if you give me 5 pages and all those 5 pages has got nothing to do with the role, it will go into the shredder. So again, relevance.
Okay.
The fact that you've got 10, 20, 15 years of experience doesn't necessarily mean they're all relevant to the current role that you're applying to. So if you feel like your 3, 4 pages is relevant, even that one too, sit down and pick the one that will make you stand out. because I've seen or I've spoken to recruiters and they say that some CVs, they don't have time to look at all of it. It gets to a point where it becomes tedious. So if you're adding to the already stressed day, you won't make the cut. Sharp, short, but relevant, and you're good to go. 1 or 2 pages of relevance, tops 3 pages of relevance. That's it. If it's more than four, unless you're asking for a presidential position, there, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so.
Mm.
Madam Mary, please, do you have anything to add up?
I think if he has just done justice to it, like she was saying, the length of your CV doesn't mean that all those things that have been stated in the CV are relevant. You can just make it 1 page, 1.5, 2 pages, maximum 3 pages. But even that, it depends on the number of things you have done. I mean, for somebody that has over a 10-year experience, that person may have done a lot of things. So if the person is coming with a 3 page, we are able to understand because there are so much that a person has done, but not somebody that is fresh from school, somebody that has 5 years experience, and all of that. So the most important thing is that for me, what I believe in is, if you are drafting your CV,
Okay,
right, you should know what is relevant at what point. There are some things that you may have done yesterday, but because of what you are applying for today, it is not important. So there's no need for you to put it on your CV. However, something that you may have done last year is important for the role you are applying today. So you can put that on your CV. So, like Effa was saying, it is all about relevance. It is not you writing everything. What is important at what point? That is what we are talking about. So this is just to add up to everything my sister shared.
yes,
Yeah, just a
that's
quick one
very
was
insightful.
sorry,
When
sorry,
Ifa was
Isaac.
speaking, of the formatting,
Just a
and
okay.
sometimes it will be very difficult for you to remove some of the experiences. So the way that some people make is to change the formatting where some people will reduce the line spacing, some to tend to widen the margin. As recruited, you look at the appearance of the CV, maybe someone can squeeze the experiences in order to get the 1 page. Do you consider
Yeah.
such things?
Um, was that a question? I'm not too sure I got that.
So I was just about to say that it's not also about reducing the font to fit into one page. If the person reading it can't read it or can't see it or is struggling to read what you've put on paper, they won't read it. They'll again it will go in the shredder. So it's sitting down and saying, okay, I've got so and so and so and so and so experiences, but what is this job role requiring and which one am I suited for? You know what? I have one big CV of everything that I've done from when I could start working, volunteering, and so on and so forth, because it's easy for you to forget. And I recently started updating every single role that I've held on my LinkedIn page as a way to keep me going for when I actually do need to, refer back to certain roles that or that I've had, right? Because it's easy to forget as you grow and you're holding up all of this. Just use your LinkedIn as a way to keep a big CV. And then now, let's say I'm applying for um a director role, right? For example, my Pinkberry managerial position has got nothing to do with the director role. I won't add it. And I'm not going to change the font to size 7 just to make sure it's in there that I started from the bottom, now we're here. No, nobody cares.
Yeah.
What is the relevance of that director? You know, I might not have necessarily held a director role as part of my job title, but what sort of um, work did I do, right? What sort of role did I play in, say, my managerial role that reflects a director? Does that make sense? So I put that work, that
Yeah.
experience there. But my shop assistant role has got nothing to do with this. My mentoring role might reflect a director because you have to be able to show a sort of leadership role. So maybe the leadership role that actually represents or replicates a director, I will put it in there. Apart from that, everything else is just a need to know. And now I know recruiters do a search on your online. Some recruiters actually ask for your LinkedIn or your was it your digital footprint. So if they see that, they will see that, oh, they've got these extra. So you don't need to put it on your CV, and you don't need to shrink it to 7. So when I said, can I add something? That was what I remembered to say. I've seen people use really small fonts. So, but just because they say it's 1 page or 2 pages, so they've forced a 15 page into a 2 page. You're only wasting your time, because if whoever is reading it can't read it, they won't force themselves to read it. So just help yourself, put your best foot forward by just being sensible about what you're doing. Sometimes you ask yourself, if I am the recruiter or the human resource person, would I actually read this CV? You understand? If you're able to answer that question honestly, then maybe you should use that CV. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ifwam Fonsa. We are really learning a lot. And I hope our audience are also taking notes and learning as well. Please, let's use this opportunity to invite a friend, a family member, because CV is for everybody. It's not limited to a group of people or some few people. So you can use it on a WhatsApp status, share, invite somebody, some people to join as well. So our next question, Madam Mary. This question, sometimes I get confused about it. You see people customize their CVs, others they will leave it normal as it has to. Should applicants customize their CVs? And can they use the same CV for different application?
Yes, to your first question, yes.
Okay.
Candidates should customize their CV. And when we say customize it, we are not saying like change everything, no. But
Okay.
let me just make it very easier for everybody to understand, right? You see, sometimes you see a particular job description. Let's say a customer service personnel. So a company is recruiting a customer service person. And you see another company also recruiting a customer service person or officer. These two roles, per the name given it, we will say, like the grade name, we will say it's the same thing, right? But the mere fact that I applied for the customer service officer role in company A doesn't mean I should use the same CV to apply for the customer service person or officer in company B. The reason is that sometimes the keywords used are different. The skills they are looking for are different. The words they used are different. So if we are telling you to tailor your CV or to customize it, we are telling you that speak the language of the recruiter, right? We are telling you that speak the language of the recruiter. Again, let me also make it very simple. So when you come to
okay, let me use Ghana, right? Somebody can say that Akwaba. Okay, Akwaba means welcome, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is
Yes.
tree. When we get a different language, let's say Ewe. No, Obake, which is Gan. It's the same
Yeah.
Akwaba or welcome.
Yes.
But the words here are different. But at the end of the day, the meaning is the same. So the same thing applies to the CV. If we are telling you to tailor your CV, we are telling you that speak the language of the recruiter. If the recruiter is saying Obake, use Obake in the CV. If the recruiters, as per the job description, if they used Aquaba, use Aquaba in your CV. So in simple terms, when we talk about customizing your CV or tailoring your CV, that is what we are trying to make you do. Just speak the language of the recruiter and you are good to go. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you very much, Madam Mary. Thank you so much.
Yes, Madam Mary, when we were speaking, you were saying we should check the keywords and the spell and the skills in the job description. But sometimes too, applicants are very desperate, and maybe if the job title customer service, it's very difficult for us to take our time to change some of the keywords representative. We just use the same CV and maybe change the cover letter or
Yeah.
something. Is that also advisable?
Eh, Honestly, it is not advisable. I would rather spend 30 minutes reading through the job description and tailoring my CV to suit what the recruiter wants than to send it just like that and not be called for an interview or be rejected. For me, I would rather take the pain of sitting down and, customizing it at least to give me a foot, in the door, put my foot in the door, than just sending it and not getting a response back. In the long run, I will advise everybody to do that. It is always better to spend that 30 minutes, that 1 hour to do that than just sending it. Because if you are doing it, we always say that if you want a different result, the input must also be different. If you want a different output, you can't tell me that you are planting tomatoes and you want to harvest coconuts. It doesn't work that way. So if you want to change the outcome of your life or of your job search and all of that, then you need to change the input. And the input is the time and the discipline to sit down to update your CV. All right. So for me, I don't want to talk a lot because of our time. So for me, that's just what I would say about that question.
All right, thank you for adding up. Yes, so um, right now you can see that a company can post a job vacancy and over 1,000, sometimes 2,000. Even those who apply for scholarships, when you check on the website, some scholarship gets over 2,000, 3,000 applications. So meaning that there is a high competition. So, Ms. Ifua, from your expertise, how can applicants stand out, or what will make applicants' CV to be unique in these highly competitive positions?
Right. Just something to add to the end of what Ikuya just said. If you're desperate for that job, right, you amend your CV to suit that job. It's that simple. That's all I want to add to that last submission. But yeah, thanks for that question. So, standing out, what does it actually mean? It doesn't mean a fancy CV. It doesn't mean, the colors, the fonts, and all of these things. That's not what standing out means. It doesn't mean fancy. Standing out means the relevance and the specifics of your CV, right? So if say 3,000 or 200 people have applied for that job, right? What that recruiter really wants to identify quickly, and when I say quickly, I mean very quickly, because now they're shortlisting from the 3,000 or how many about thousands or hundreds. They're looking for a quick shortlisting to, the chaps from the main group. So one, they're looking for four things, in my opinion. Can this person do the job? Have they demonstrated the relevant skills? Have they achieved anything? Again, this is why it's good to list achievements and not the role that you did. And also, do they understand what we are looking for? So now you see how it's come back to the previous question of, does your CV suits the role that they're asking for? So if you don't, if you don't update it, you've already counted yourself out without them even reading your CV, because you've not taken time to read it. So these four things: can this person do the job? Have they demonstrated the relevant skills? Have they achieved anything? And do they understand what we're looking for? So now, instead of writing excellent communication skills, what will make you stand out? For example, delivered presentations to groups, and I'm making things up on top of my head. Delivered presentation to groups of 50 or over 100 students, and coordinated a 5-person project team, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You see how this is like, you've not just delivered excellent communication, you've showed where. So this is where you're standing out. Don't be lazy in your CV. Don't exaggerate as well, but don't be lazy. You understand?
Yeah.
I'm hardworking and a team player. We are all hardworking and team players. You understand? So what makes you stand out with that little thing? When were you a team player? What did you achieve with your hard work? You understand? That's where you stand out. So now, if you show it through what you've actually done, that's what makes you stand out. And also, use language. Don't go into a dictionary and be using big words. If I'm reading your CV, I have to be asking ChatGPT and Gemini and all of these thesaurus to understand your CV. You're wasting my time. I'm not reading it personally. Somebody else, because it's thousands, you understand? So use plain language of the job description honestly though. And I always say this, because if you exaggerate, I've seen videos now. I know there are funny videos where people go when you lie on your CV. You understand? So use the job descriptions honestly in your submission of your CV. That's how you stand out. That's how you get the quick attention of whoever is reading it, because they don't have a lot of time to go through all the thousands. So when we say standing out, is little things like that. Stand out in terms of relevance and being specific in summary. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing these important tips. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, my brother Isaac.
Can you hear?
Before we move to the part two, I want to read some comments. So from Dr. Kakari Livingston, he's saying nice work. He's glad to be here. We are glad to have you too, sir. From Crazy York on YouTube, he's saying interesting conversation so far. So much to learn. There's a proud statement. Okay. And he's saying if you want to make a different result, you must change your input. Okay, thank you so much, sir, for staying with us up to this time. We are moving to the part two, as I said earlier. Today's session is in two parts. The first part, how to stand out on paper, that's the CV tips. And the part two is the interview preparation. You are saying you are this, you are that, you are this. So it's now time to prove to the panel members that indeed you are the right applicant that fits for the job. So it's now time to defend yourself. That's the part two. So without wasting much time, I'll start from this time around. I'll start from Miss Ifua Fonsa. Yes. So Miss Ifua, the first question is, during an interview, what are some of the biggest mistakes that candidates make during interview that we have no idea that is a mistake that we are making?
Right. Interviews. It's a
Yeah.
challenging one when it comes to that. There's some people their CVs are very good. They go into the interview and they fumble. So the biggest mistakes is when you don't know your CV throughout, in and out. You understand? You need to know your CVs in and out, because if we are asking you at an interview to give examples of a certain role, or giving you questions on a certain role that you've put on there, and you can't answer honestly, or you're fumbling, those can catch you out. So
Yeah.
not knowing your CV, and even the organization that you're going to work in as well. If you don't know, or you've not done a lot of research about the organization that you're going to work in, and they ask you a question, again, you're either making it up, or you're not giving factual answers, then you know that you're not ready. Giving long answers, sometimes when you're talking and all of a sudden you've ended, there's silence. Silence doesn't mean fill the gaps, leave it as it is. Don't
Yeah.
try to fill it. You understand? Don't try to fill it, because then you start talking, and the more you talk, the more mistakes you make. Don't try to fill out
Yes.
silence. If it naturally ends, that means you're done, and leave it as it is.
Yeah.
For them to fill the silence, it's not your job. You're not there to fill silence. Not carefully listening, or listening to understand the question they're asking. Again, sometimes it's you, as soon as you're listening, you think this is what they are asking, but maybe that's not. So listen to understand. And if you really don't understand, ask them to repeat it. Some people are scared during interviews to ask, to repeat, or even rephrase the questions that they've been asked. Ask whoever is asking you the question to rephrase it. It's better to have an understanding and give the right information or answers than to go and make a whole mess of yourself. And asking and to understand shows how matured you are. You understand? So it gives them a different um, view of yourself. So make sure you're doing that. When if you're going into an interview, have at least two questions, not just about salary. It shouldn't always be about the money. Ask
Yeah.
pertinent questions, at least two. It's, for example, I always say this, it's like a relationship. You're going to be working with these people, they're going to be working with you as well. Are you fit for them? Are they fit for you? Don't be scared, because you have to wake up every day and go to this place. You understand? So treat it as you would any relationship, because your mental health these days too. So don't be scared to ask questions. Again, you shouldn't just be focusing only on the salary, the promotion and experience, without explaining what you can contribute. You understand? So those are there. There's lots, but that's just what I can give. And one, especially for our side of the world, we like to memorize answers. So when you go there and you forget one word, you are just there doing Don't memorize it, mate. Just understand what the job role and things are. Because with that understanding, you can rephrase how you're going to, um, deliver it. So yeah, so you don't get caught out. So those are the few that I can mistakes that I can talk about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Miss Ifwa. These are
Yeah.
some mistakes that we have to pay attention to so that we are not going to be repeating it day in and day out. Thank you so much.
Yes. I am learning a lot. I am really learning. And by the time we are done with this session, we'll have a list of things that we do differently. Like Mr. York said, if you want a different result, you must change your input. So I also change my input
Yeah.
and hope for better results. Yes, Madam Mary, this one I want to combine it to it's two questions, but I want to combine it as one. Then you answer it for us. So basically, in every interview, there is one question that happens to be asked, and it is tell me about yourself. So this is the first impression that an applicant make during the interview. So how can an applicant answer this question and not to be seen as overly confident? Okay, how can an applicant answer the tell me about yourself so that the panel cannot see this applicant to be overly confident in the interview process?
Okay, thank you very much, Isaac. So I know most often than not, tell me about yourself is one of the first questions you are being asked um, for every interview. I mean, so my advice would be, I mean, sitting at the other side of the table, is that to be able to properly answer that question, first of all, you need to know your skills, right? Your skills, who you are as a person, your experience, some achievements that you have done. These four things is what you should have it in mind before you can properly answer that particular question. Sometimes what people do is that when we ask them, tell me about yourself, they go ahead to tell us their name. Then they will talk about the courses, they will talk about their family. Like, here, that is not what we want to know. Okay. But tell me about yourself is you telling us who Isaac Mensah is. And if we are giving Isaac Mensah that opportunity, are we making the right choice? Is Isaac going to be culturally fit? Is Isaac going to help us solve the problem? Is Isaac going to contribute to the organizational goals? Those are the things that we have in mind. And so, if we are telling you to tell us about yourself, we are telling you that sell yourself to us before we can continue with the other questions. So, if you don't get it in the first instance, all the other ones and we are humans, right? So if you
Yeah.
don't get tell me about yourself, like if you don't hit the no right on the head for us, then in our minds we are even questioning if this person should be in the room in the first place. Okay, so for me, what I would advise is that to properly answer that, at least have your skills in mind. Like if even if you are sleeping and we wake you up, you should be able to tell us. If you've had the opportunity to achieve something, whether in school, whether in your church, whether in your previous work, if you've been able to achieve something, have that in mind. Have all those things in mind. The type of person, I mean, who you are as a person, you need to add that as well. So if you have all these three things in mind, then you can be able to properly answer. Tell me about yourself. I am Isaac Mensah, an IT pet professional with, let's say, 2 years experience or 3 years experience. Like then you go ahead with your skills. You talk about your experience. Then as a person, you are ABCD. So it's you selling yourself to us in summary. Then we can go ahead with the other questions that the panel members may have at the interview. Now, aside that, okay, aside you telling us about yourself, I think the second part of the question you were asking about confidence. Confidence is
Yes.
very important for me. When it comes to interview, I see confidence as you knowing what to say at what point, you being clear, like clarity of the things that you are telling us. That is how I see confidence in interviews. So if you want to be confident at an interview, it is the deliberate steps you took before that time and that before that day. All right. So if you want to experience some confidence, or if you want to exhibit that you're a confident person during the interview, my advice is that prepare before that day. If you and you are taken off guard, that is when you realize that people would uh, they wouldn't know what to say. Then they'll tell you, can you repeat that? Some will even tell you they don't have any idea. But if you are prepared before that particular day, it would give you a leverage, okay? And that is where confidence is built. So confidence is not built on that day, it is built deliberately with intentional steps before that day. All right. So for me, confidence, that is how I see it, and that is how I'll advise anybody listening to me. All right. Thank you. Can I be heard?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Madam Mary, for such a great submission. We are learning a lot tonight, and I hope our audience are also learning as well. There are some questions here that I want to read them out for our amazing speakers to help us to answer them. So the first question from Robert, he was asking, please, what should I do as a first-time applicant? Yes, from Robert.
Okay, so as a first time applicant, oh, sorry, who is the question directed to?
Oh, no, please. Madam Mary, please go ahead.
Okay,
Yes.
so as a first time applicant, I want to believe, or per his question, I want to understand, is it somebody that is applying for a role the first time,
Okay.
right? Am I correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So
I
as a
think
first
first
time
time
applicant,
applicants, as in this is their first job. They're now
Yeah,
applying
recent.
for jobs.
okay. All right. So as a first time applicant, what I will advise you is everything that we have shared. I'm going to give a summary. As a first time applicant who is now applying for a job, you need to learn, like we have said earlier. Don't just come into the world of work without the tools. Nobody goes to a farm without a cutlass. Nobody goes to school without a pen or a paper to write the things that he or she is being told. And so that is telling us that if you are going to the world of work, or if you are going, let's say if you are going to a battlefield, you don't go empty hands. Some way, somehow, you need to carry something along, even if it's a kitchen knife, right? And that's how the world of work is. You can't just go to the battlefield with nothing. You'll be killed earlier, like you are going to be murdered, you know
Yeah.
you are going to die early. So, as a first time applicant, make sure you have your tools in mind. And the tools is what we have said today. Learn and don't come without the knowledge. Don't come to the world of work without knowledge, without ideas. So, first of all, you need to learn. Number two, you need to make sure that you are applying for roles that will make you a better person. I always say that if you are new or like a first time applicant, like you mentioned, don't always have money in mind. make sure that you are targeting places that can build you as a person, places that you can learn on the job, places that when you are entering as a 10% person, you will come out with an additional 5%, making you a 15% an expert, or 20 or 25, but you will not enter and come out as a 2% person. It means that that place didn't add value to your life. And so, as a first time applicant, aside you learning, I will also advise you not only to concentrate on money, right? But concentrate on places that you as a person can contribute, and also places that can also add value to your life, places that you can grow. That is number 2 for me. Number 3, make sure that your CV, like my sister and I have said this evening, is optimized. Don't just, sometimes you see some CVs and then it is that bad. At least if you don't know how to go about it, reach out to professionals that can support you. And I think there's even a statement in the law that ignorance is not an excuse, right? You cannot submit any CV and say that I didn't know. That is not an excuse. You must know. Okay. And aside you, like I said, even if you don't know, there are professionals, there are people. I'm sure you may have people around you or online that you can reach out to support you. That is my third one. And my number 4, which is very important to me, is to make yourself position yourself as a person that is teachable. There are some people that when they come to the workplace, they don't want to learn. And aside the fact that they don't want to learn, even when you see something about them that you are drawing their attention to, they take offense in it. And then they would be like the victims. No. Sometimes we are blind to the things that we are unable to see. So if you are a first time applicant and you want to make it in the world of work, you need to come across as a person that is ready to learn, a person that is teachable. That is what I would say. And with the number of times that I've had the opportunity to mentor people, to speak on platforms, and to learn on my journey, because I'm still not there, honestly. In fact, I've not even started my journey, right? With all the things that
Wow.
I have seen or I have experienced in life, what I would tell you is that make sure you position yourself as somebody that is ready to learn, somebody that is teachable. Because if somebody see that today, if I tell Jennifer or Isaac that, look, Isaac, I think ABCD is what I see about you that I think you can work on. Okay, don't take offense in it. And of course, sometimes it is about how people say it. But there are people that, in the first place, who catch on in the crown, they don't want to listen. Minimum need also. And I see that a lot in our generation, the ones that are after us, the ones that are coming. And honestly, please, that is my fourth point. All right. Make sure that people will see you as a person they will talk to. They will tell you the places that you are not seeing, the places, your blind spots, they will draw your attention to. And make sure you are ready to learn and be a better person. All right. So whoever asked the question, these are the 4 things that I'm leaving with you. I hope I make sense. All right. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Madam Mary. So, Mr. Roberts, I hope your answer has been answered. So you are going to take notes of it. Thank you very much. Let's move to the next question. Miss Ifwa. So this question, they normally ask it. HR managers, they ask it. Your weaknesses. Tell us about some of your weaknesses. So with this kind of question, what's the best way to address weaknesses or gap in employment during an interview? Do you have to state your negative weaknesses, or you have to space it in a way that is not going to look at a negative, but in a way as a positive in a bit or something. What's the best way for us to address that?
Thank you very much. So me personally, I don't like that question. When I'm asked what are my weaknesses, it's not because I don't have a
Yeah.
weakness. It's it's more or less how to um deliver what my weaknesses are. I know I find it difficult to say no. That is a big weakness because I burnt out. Or anybody that keeps saying yes, yes, yes ends up burning out at a point if you don't know how to manage yourself. So that is a weakness and I know it. Procrastination. I know I procrastinate on a lot, especially if it is a job that I can do in 5-10 minutes. Instead of doing it and getting, oh, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll be sleeping, I'll be drinking coffee. By the time I realize it's not a 5 minutes, 10 minutes job, it's become a whole project. So I know it, you understand. But it's how you say it. Don't nobody is a superhuman. They know you have your weaknesses, but one, they want to know if you are aware. It's not a tricky question. They just want you to they want to know if you're aware. Like Mary Glad, perfectly put it that you have to be a. They need to know if they can teach you. Are you teachable? Because there's already a boss. Who nobody wants another boss. Who, you understand? So they need to know if they can teach you, if they can mold you to the culture of that organization. So what are they dealing with, and are you aware of it, and how are you dealing with it? So don't it's not a defensive question. Don't become defensive. Oh, me, I'm so good. You understand? I'm first class. I am waking up at 5. I'm just having 1 hour sleep, and I'll do everything you say. Hey, master, be careful, be coming down. So it's not a defensive. Don't start.
No.
You understand? It's not a defensive. So, like I said, I said I know these are my weaknesses, but I am also aware of it. And what am I doing, about it? So, like I said, that 5-10 minutes jobs that I procrastinate about. I write it down. As soon as I have more than 5, it means I need to start doing something about it. If not, it will become a project. So I'm aware of it, and this is how I'm dealing with it. So you as an individual as well, if they ask you at an interview, what are your weakness? This is my weakness. I'm aware of it, and this is what I'm doing about it, or this is what I'm proactively dealing with it, or how I'm proactively dealing with it. It is good for you to know your weaknesses, but it is better if somebody tells you, especially somebody that wishes you well, wants to see you grow. Me saying yes to everything, I personally knew it, and I've been told so many times during my mid appraisal, that because a lot of the time it's like you come to my office and there's post-it notes everywhere because I didn't say no, and now my screen is covered with post-it notes. You understand? So I know it, and I've been told it, so that means it's something that I need to deal with. So now how do I say no? I would just say, oh, I'll check my diary and I'll come back to you. Chances I'll probably not check the diary. Am I lying? No, but it's a polite way. So now, if I don't come back to you and time is running out, you can ask another person, won't you? Or I'll just say, oh, I'll try and see if I can find somebody else for you. I'm still saying no, but I'm not automatically rejecting to help. But I will personally not be doing it. It's somebody else that will be handling it. Does that make sense? So it's about knowing it, you saying that this is how you're dealing with it. And then so this is your weaknesses, and sometimes your strengths could be your weakness as well. If you're reliable, it's a strength, but then again, or if you're hardworking, it's also a weakness because hard work gets rewarded by more work, and it is what it is. So again, it's a strength, but it's also a weakness. So something to be aware of. But it's how you say it. Gaps. Everyone at a point would have gaps in their CVs. especially if you end up being stagnated at one job role for a long time. No promotion or promotion has been stagnated. You sit down and you ask yourself, why did that promotion take so long for me as a person? Don't go comparing yourself to other people. That could be a gap in your CV. Or maybe you left one job and you weren't so lucky to land a second job or a third job, and so on and so forth. So you have that gap, right? So how do you explain that? Don't run away from it. Don't deviate. Don't try to go and say, oh, when the company, the line manager didn't like me. Your sad story. Nobody cares about your sad story. We all have sad stories. You understand? Don't go and be crying. Take responsibilities and
Yes.
say, I had a gap because I left my job. I'm just giving an example. I left this job because I was looking for more challenge or a different challenge or a different opportunity in another company. That didn't come to fruition. What did I do with that gap? I took online courses, I volunteered, I tried to set up my own business, which I am still in the process of doing. Do you understand? So there is that gap, but we didn't just sit at home and cry and pray without applying for more jobs. You were developing yourself. And sometimes too, life happens. Maybe you were sick, maybe another family member took ill. It could be anything. Don't be shy. Talk about it and say, but this is how I've overcome that. And now I'm at an interview trying to, move on to close that gap. It's really it. Those that are interviewing you, they are human. They've probably gone through what you're going through too. So they understand. Don't be defensive, boss. Calm down. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Ifwa. Miss Ifwa,
Sorry, and one thing too, don't apologize for the gap, okay? Life happens. Don't go and be
okay,
saying, I'm sorry that. No, you are not sorry for anything. We know you are lying. You're not sorry. It happened and it happened. We move, okay?
okay. Thank you very much. But Miss Ifwa, what should the candidates do when they don't know an answer to a question during an interview?
Okay, I don't know. I did have this question earlier on. Was it this week or last week? Okay.
Mhm.
It's happened to me before. I genuinely didn't know. Um, and then I sat down. I was very quiet. I'm hardly ever quiet. So I asked myself, should I lie? Should I lie or should I not? But I know it will be worse if I lie than to admit that I don't know. So I admitted it. So initially, what I did was I said, can we come back to this question? Right. And then, oh, they did come back because I thought they would forget. They came back to that question. So I said, please, can you rephrase it? They rephrased it. That brain was not braining. And then I was left with a dilemma between me and my God, whether to lie or to just say, I don't know. And I said, I'm really sorry, but I thought I didn't understand the question, but I've realized I actually haven't got any idea. Did I die? No, I did not die. Did they shoot me? They didn't. So, you know what I did? After I was asked, what question do you have? I asked them that question for me to know. You understand? It's a conversation that we are having. At the end of the day, interview is a conversation. You're asking me about myself, me too. I'm asking you too. So what's the answer to the question that I didn't know? They didn't do anything to me, and to be honest, it turned into a joke later on when we became um paddies, and yeah. So don't lie. If you don't know it, you don't know it. You're not. They're not there to cut you out. You understand? But they want to know the sort of person that you are. If I had lied, that was my integrity on the line. And maybe I would have also spewed out really nonsense that they would have just said, you know what, we don't even want you around us. But I said it, and here we are. I was able to get that role. It was a voluntary role, and I'm still working with them. So if you don't know it, again, maybe at that time, it depends what it is. Sometimes you're tensed, you that pressure of interview, it happens to all of us. So at that point, maybe your brain is not processing the question, right? So now you say, can you rephrase it? They've rephrased it and you've realized that you just don't understand it. Sometimes too, if it is one of those things that you think, unless it's very factual, there's some stuff that are factual that is either you know or you don't. So at that point there, you just say, boss, my hand is up, I don't know. You understand? But if it's one of those
Yeah.
things that you think maybe you have an idea, you just say, oh, my idea about this thing that you're asking is this and that and that. It might not be what they are looking for, but you've told them what you think it is. And then you move on, and just so that you really also grow from that interview, is to ask it at the end. Make sure you don't forget it and ask it at the end. It's it's better than going to lie about it. And again, it's like when you have an exam, sometimes you score 100% because you knew all the answers. Sometimes you get 95. Why? Because that question you didn't know. It's just it. You might go down a mark on the interview scale, but at least you go holding your integrity and stop being a fool. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Miss Ifwa. So I think we have to learn from this without saying, please no idea, please no idea, please no idea. Thank you very much. To our next
If it is
question.
more questions and you're saying no idea, no idea, you might as well give up on the interview. Why are you there?
That means you are not prepared for the interview. Yes. Thank you very much, Miss Ifwa. Brother Isaac.
Yes, I just received a message from a friend. He is Foster Bodubwedi, and he said he's watching us from Turkey and he's enjoying today's discussion. Also, another friend of mine too is joining us from YouTube. Solomon Kweku Abodo, he is in Michigan right now, pursuing his
Yeah.
studies. So we are glad to have you join. And he has a question. I don't know who will take this question. He says, please, do you have to add your age, where you are from? I'm sure he's talking about the, what do you call it, the personal information. Mm,
Wow.
I'll let Mary answer
Mr.
that
But don't,
question.
uh,
In
it's a
terms
question.
of
Okay.
okay, so in terms of age, right? For me, um, the details you add to your CV, once again, should be tailored to where it is going. There are some specific industries that would even request for a picture, like the beauty and those industries. They would even ask for a picture. They want to see the kind of person they are going to work with, because for them it is about you as a person, like your personality. And so if you are applying for a job in that area, it is a requirement. So you need to add it. But when it comes to the marital status, the date of birth and all of that, generally it's a no, because sometimes age brings about some biases. And it's just unfortunate that even these days, school applications, they give an age limit, right? So, and of course, sometimes recruiters even want people that you'll be winning that entry or retirement, because then again, as an HR, we're also looking at succession plan. So if you are coming in into what we call retirement, we are also thinking about that. So age in itself sometimes brings about biases. That is why generally age should not, age and marital status should not be on your CV. It is a no. However, if you are taking it to a place that it is a requirement, you need to add that to it. So generally, it's a no. But if you are taking it to a place that your date of birth and whatever details they need is a requirement, you must add it. That is what I'll say. But generally, it's a no. Generally, what we want is your name, your email, your contact, and also if you've been able to build your brand, we need a LinkedIn profile link. These are the things that we need on a general, most often than not, these are the things that we need. However, if it's going to a place that age is a requirement, please add it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for taking your time to answer this question. When I read the question, if I was doing something, do you know the number of people that we have saved right now with this question?
I know. I know. I
Mm.
know. That's
One day
I
I'll
think
invite
I
you
mentioned, yeah. It's
the to campus to student CV. It's normal. Some students will they will create something, personal information, name, age, church, nationality. So when those
yeah.
students watch it, I'm sure they will correct these things going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, this is one thing about WeRise that we're looking to do. So leadership, CV writing, especially from secondary schools, to actually start giving them those practical skills from secondary school coming into tertiary. Because if somebody is in tertiary and you're putting your marital and how many kids you have, it's you need prayers, but it is well we move. But then again, you know what? I'm not even sorry for saying that. Instead of using that time to watch TikTok and unnecessary videos and pictures and what's not these days, personal development, CV has to be one of it. There are loads of samples online. What is stopping you from looking at a sample or even asking ChatGPT these days? Don't use ChatGPT to learn how to talk to your boyfriend or your girlfriend or unnecessary nonsense that does not add value to your life, and ask about CVs. I've said what I've said and I'm sticking with it. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope our audience are learning a lot. Please, if you have any question, feel free and put it in the comment section, and our two speakers will answer them. Um,
Yes, please. I have a question, and this is a personal question. How long should a candidate wait? Let's say, how long should you wait after an interview? Madam Mary, please, if you can help us to answer this question. Yes.
Okay,
How long?
so
Yeah.
when it comes to hiring decisions, in all honesty, it takes a lot, you know. After the interview, a whole lot of work goes into the main thing before a decision is made. A decision is not taken right after you exit the room. No. Some meetings had to be, held. A decision would have to be taken. Sometimes even the board needs to come in and all of that. So it's a whole work. But that notwithstanding, so generally it would take the recruiter some time to get back to the candidate. However, if I would always say that if after 2 weeks, 10 working days, which is 2 weeks, if you've not heard from them, you can send a follow up. Sometimes sending a follow up they may get back to you that once a decision is taken or made, it would be communicated to you. But that is you doing your part, right? So after
Yeah.
10 working days, on general, sometimes you can take less, maybe after a week, but generally after 10 working days, which is 2 weeks, you can reach out to them asking about the status. I mean, after the interview, you've not heard from them. So you are reaching out to them to ask about the status and all of that. They would respond. Okay. So yeah, for me, 10 working days is okay.
Okay. So meaning we don't have a fixed days for it because I've seen it somewhere that that state that you have to wait for 19 days after an interview before yes. So that
So we
means we
don't
don't have
have Yeah, we don't have a fixed date of, like a fixed thing. I always say that, see, every organization and what works for them. And so that is why culture is different. It is organizational based, right? So if an organization takes 19 days, one organization may even take 7 days, another organization may take 10 days. So it is not fixed, it is organizational based, culture based. And so you cannot really say that generally maybe we take 19 days or 10 days, but um 2 weeks or 10 working days is ideal or is best.
okay. Thank you very much, Mother Mary. Yes. So we are gradually moving to the end of today's session. And I hope our audience have taken notes, if learned a lot. Myself, from here, I'm going to make a lot of editing, paraphrasing, a whole lot. Yes. So our final question, I'll start from Miss Ifwa. Please, what advice will you give to someone preparing for their first professional interview? Yes.
Right.
Any advice? Yes.
Any advice? My first
Yes.
advice: don't go and lie. Don't do it. Even if you lie and you get the job, you'll be found out. As soon as you lose your honesty and integrity, it's very difficult to get it back. You won't enjoy the job role. You won't enjoy the environment. So don't do it. And I know I've been joking, but this one is a serious one for me. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Even when you do try to correct it, you've already tarnished your honesty, and
Yeah.
yeah, you've stained your white. It will be difficult to get that stain out. Don't lie. If it is your first one and you're very nervous, take time to prepare. Even if you're not successful in that particular interview, take it as a learning curve and then build upon it. When you can't be honest with yourself, what you could have done differently, and then use that into your next interview, and so on and so forth. Know yourself. Nobody knows you better than you. Know yourself and be yourself when you're there. Sometimes your CV might not be that great compared to other applicants, but your personality can be the reason why you got that job. I've seen it done before where I've sat around a table. Um, I was just what was I doing? I was just watching. I was basically there to learn how interviews and decisions are made. And one guy came in. He was not the best candidate, but you know what? He had the charisma. You could tell this person, if you employ him, they are ready to learn. They know that they're not the best, but they are ready to learn. They're ready to put in the work, and it showed in their personality. If he had come and not been himself, probably would have lost it. And that was how they stood out. Like we were saying, be yourself. read your CV through and through. Make sure you can explain every important thing on there. If it's not everything, the important things, especially if it's related to the job role that you're going for, make sure you know it. Know the organization. I've said this in the earlier submission that if you don't know the organization, it could go against you. So know the organization and also know the job that you're going for. Learn
Yeah.
scenarios where you know they would ask you, when have you had this situation and how did you deal with it? When did you do this and when how did you so learn phrases like that that relate to the job role that you're going for. And then prepare your stories too. Like I said, know the star. So don't just go and say I'm hardworking, I'm this, I'm that. Be able to give examples. Okay. So again, the star Jennifer, why are you laughing? The star approach, situation,
Yeah.
task,
Yeah.
action, results. What was happening? What were you responsible for? What did you actually do and what happened? That's how to answer questions in interviews. And make sure you can answer those questions in that format and you can't go wrong. Practice out loud. Practice out loud. Practice in front of people.
Yeah.
Have a mirror if you have to. Record yourself. If you're saying a lot, learn how to, there are people now that put interviewing skills on YouTube. Like I'm saying, use these things to your benefit. Stop
Yeah.
watching all these stuff that does not add any value to your life. Reduce it
Yeah.
and then develop yourself. Yeah. And also look for common questions that they ask for certain job roles that you're going for. Study them, learn it, and relate it to your experiences. And I think you should be good to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ifwa Panza. Thank you so much. Madam Mary. Hello.
Okay, so
Yeah. Is your
because my
final words?
sister, yeah, so because my sister has said a lot about that, I would rather take a different turn. So to add up to everything my sister has shared, what
Yeah.
I would also tell anybody listening to me is that as a person, whether an entry level, a middle, or whoever you may be, you need to be prepared. Like I think I've said it earlier. Don't just come to without a weapon and sure that at every point in time you have something in your hands. I always believe that just because you are in this world means that there's a purpose for you in life. So, because there is a purpose for you means that you are not just any person, you're not an ordinary person.
Yeah. Hello. Please, can you hear me? Oh, I
I
Yes.
think
think we might
the
have
person.
lost Mary.
Yes. Yes. So our audience, I hope today we have learned a lot. CV is for everybody. CV is not for a group of people. Don't say I'm still in school, I'm in level 100, so there is no need for me to update it. There is no need for me to draft my CV or something. Don't wait for last minute to be making some errors, some typo mistakes, a whole lot. Let's start now. And I think when the time is due, you'll be able to make a perfect CV for us to stand out in the job market. So as we've come to the end of today's session, so I don't want us to close so because CV is very important and It's something that we all need. I think it's something that policymakers have to inculcate it in our curriculum because some people are still at the tertiary level. They don't know how to draft even a sample of CV, and it's very sad. So this discussion, I wish that maybe we can take it in a different time, maybe at the end of the year, so that people will get to learn as well. Yes. So as we've come to the end of today's session, I believe we've learned a lot, and we've learned that CV is not just about a document. It is your
Please, can
first
I be heard?
opportunity to. Yes, yes, yes. You're
So
welcome
sorry,
back.
my Wi-Fi disconnected. Yeah, so sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, so my apologies. So like I was saying, let me just do that in the next 30 seconds. Our time is already up. So like I was saying, you need to position yourself as somebody that if we are coming to you, you are going to contribute to the solution to the
Words.
problem, right? So these are some of the things that you need to, well, that's, my advice to anybody listening to me. And lastly, when Moses was taking the Israelites out from Egypt, God asked Moses, what is in your hands? And in the same Bible that I know we all believe in, also says that he gives bread to the eater and seed to the sower. If you are not the sower, you are not going to get the seed. If Moses didn't have anything in his hands, I know or I believe that there would have been a problem for him parting the Red Sea. So it means that when we are bringing all these ideas or all these things to the world of work, don't just come to the world of work with nothing. By all means, develop yourself. By all means, learn a skill. By all means, position yourself as like a valuable person, right? So by all means, have something in your hands. Don't come empty-handed. So that is what I will add to all that my sister, the advice she also gave. Thank you very much.
Yes. We are running out of time, so we have to conclude. On behalf of the WeRise project and the TripleAFoundation, we would like to sincerely thank Madam Mary and Miss Ifua for taking your time to take us through how we can present ourselves excellently, both through our CV and also during the interview processes. Like we said, the WeRise project's main aim is to empower young professionals to learn from people who have done it, ask questions, and also build their confidence. If you are a student watching us and you live around Winneba or Accra, you can join Triple A Foundation as a volunteer so that you can have some experiences when you are done with school. Then you can include it in your CV. Yes. So once again, we thank our two speakers, and we hope that whatever we have discussed will be put into practice. Don't just listen and be there without taking any action. After this program, search for your CV, look for the errors, red line, have red pen, and delete some of the information, starting from the personal information, experiences, things that need to be removed. Do it after this program, or else you will forget. Yeah. So thank you for those who stayed with us since we started this event. We have spent an hour and 50 minutes. Yes, and our prayer is that in your subsequent applications, you will put in a strong CV and also you ace your interview. Yes. Um, Thank you for joining us and enjoy your weekend.
Thanks for having us. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah,
Ikea.
thank
It's
you
wonderful
for
having you on
the
here as well.
We
yeah.
are grateful.
Thank you very much for the invite.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll see you another time. Bye.